huge set of news coming out of Manchester in the Premier League today, with Manchester City being hit with some charges, and it's not just some charges; it's over 100 charges, breaching financial fair play over the course of 9 years. We got to talk about it. Biggest news of the Premier League in a little bit. This could concern a lot of different things, could impact a lot of different things. So we're going to give you guys all the details and what we think should happen afterwards, involving the club, punishment, players, manager, vice versa. Before we get to that, I recommend you subscribe to us at For the Badge Football. We talk about all things football whenever we can, with a weekly podcast episode, game reactions, and blah, 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 all that. So if you're interested in those, please consider subscribing to us, and we greatly appreciate it, and it'll help us grow. All right, so like I said, City have been accused of breaking financial rules by the Premier League as a result of a very, very long investigation, which is not something that's new. We've seen this plenty of times before, even with City themselves. The current champions were hit with over 100 charges over a 9-year span, based off of a 4-year investigation. I'm just gonna screen share this real quick.
All right.
This is the whole Premier League statement right here, and the amount of charges on this page.
That's long.
It's a
not their first time.
A lot of charges.
Their first
time.
2018.
Not the first time.
2018, they were banned at the July of 2018. They were banned for 2 years in UEFA competitions because UEFA found the similar charges against them to be found guilty, but it was later ruled overturned from a 2-1 majority decision due to them saying that the financial fair play or like the evidence found was too long ago to have any effect. But It looks like with the investigation with the Premier League / FA rules, it looks like they got them for a long time. So it's going to be interesting how it plays out.
Yeah. So this, let's see. So do you have the Premier League? What the Premier League said in the statement says that City breached rules which require them to provide, quote, accurate financial information that gives a true and fair view of the club's financial position, which basically means they lied. They lied about what kind of spending they're doing, how they're getting their money, making it very illegal to do so. Included in this information is the club's revenue, notably sponsorship revenue, as well as operating costs, which I will bring up here. Well, let me see what City responded to this, of course, first, saying that they were surprised by the issuing of these breaches, which is at the same time surprising because they've been under investigation for 4 years now. They know what was happening. They know what was coming.
That was a PR stunt right there. That was just a
PR stunt. Thing. Yeah. The official statement said, particularly given the extensive engagement and vast amount of detailed materials that the EPL has been provided with, the club welcomes a review of this matter by an independent commission to impartially consider the comprehensive body of irrefutable evidence that exists in support of its position. As such, we look forward to this matter being put to rest once and for all. So they want to get through it. I don't think they're going to. I think there's a reason that these charges were brought forth. They found something. It's obvious. I mean, I don't think it's impossible to think that they did something. I mean, before Chelsea or after Chelsea and before this Chelsea came City, and they had insane spending, even more so than Chelsea, over the course of a good few years with the rise to the top with their sponsorships. So I'm not surprised this came out. I'm going to bring it back a little bit to when they were talking about sponsors, because no one really talks about it. So I've seen so far, but sponsorships is like, from what I've seen, is the big reason that they are under violation of these. So I'll just bring it up. Oh, before I do, one of the charges is grass height from over a decade ago. I'm going to read the charge. They were in violation of a charge saying that the rule said the height of the pitch grass shall not exceed 30 millimeters and the entire playing surface must be cut at the same height. And this is something that apparently violated and as part of it. So they're just throwing the whole sink at them.
Bro, if Klopp was Liverpool manager those years ago, he would have had a valid argument at one point.
So I don't know exactly which source this is from, which is screenshots of it, but from an article. So investigation shows that Manchester City's longstanding partners, Wega, have also been active in Qatar, where it launched the Esports World Cup with a $15 million prize pot, although detail for the tournament never materialized and officials claim no knowledge of it. A little suspicious. last month, Manchester City parted company with a crypto sponsor, which a lot of teams did. Cryptocurrency was the biggest thing of the last year. After media reports revealed the company had no management team. A little suspicious. On January 6th, City unveiled a new global sponsorship agreement. The club website promoted the partnership with Masdar, a renewable energy and sustainable development company, by highlighting the launch of a campaign aimed at raising awareness around climate change. Sounds good. It's a great sponsorship. I like that. Good for the world. What the city press release did not mention, however, is that Masdar is owned by the Mubadala Investment Company. Mubadala is a sovereign wealth fund of Abu Dhabi, and the chief executive officer of Mubadala is a businessman named Khaldoon Al Mubarak, who is also the chairman of Manchester City. There's a little bit of
We're a little bit of
inconsistencies.
inconsistencies, but also it sounds like there's funneling money through fake
That's what it
corporations.
is. That's what it is. That's
That's
exactly
some
what it is.
sketchy stuff.
That's
Like,
how
that's
they're
stuff
getting
you
their
think
money.
about like in movies and stuff, you know?
It does.
Not
Yeah. You would think, and I'm a little surprised it took very long for anyone to catch on to this, because these teams, especially Manchester City, should be one of the most credible sources of the way the club is run, right? You think they wouldn't do anything wrong. You think it's all legit. Um, and obviously it isn't. Like you said, Andres, it sounds like they're just funneling money in certain
yeah.
ways
Sounds like some Wolf
into.
on Wall Street stuff.
Yeah, I
I've
know,
seen that
literally.
movie. It sounds like that. They just have different names for people to take the
Yeah, literally,
downfall. It's
literally. So
ridiculous.
interesting. It's interesting. A lot of interesting charges being brought to light. One something no one really has taken consideration of. Let me go over. I'll go over the potential punishments that could be brought onto the club. There'll be a lot. So I have a whole list right
As they
here,
should. As they
as
should.
they should. So some things can happen. They could suspend the club from playing league matches. Point deduction, which I think is the most talked about punishment.
Yeah.
Recommend to the board that league matches be replayed, which is a little stupid to me. I mean, it's yeah. Well, I'll mention
Probably
after.
gonna be the same result, but whatever.
Yeah. Recommend to the board that the league expels the club, which is
Oh
also something
damn.
people have been talking about. That would be huge. Compensation, cancel or refusal of registration of players. Conditional punishment. I don't know what that means. Order the club to pay costs, so another fines, I guess, and make such order as it thinks fit. So make any order they want to, thinking that's fit. Um, Anything could happen, but I think from the list, the punishments that people are talking about primarily are point deductions or expulsion from the Premier League. People on all different sides are saying different things. Primarily, Arsenal fans are saying that Arsenal and United fans are saying that the titles they won in the Premier League should be stripped from them and they should be given to the second place team. So let's talk
Houston
about it.
Astro vibes right there.
Oh god,
Houston
god,
Astro vibes for all
seriously.
the baseball fans out there. But
Yeah,
dude, that would
it's
be if it
it's
was
it
point deduction and like taking away their trophies, that would be massive. I don't know, like that would be like dude, like it sends like waves throughout the footballing
yeah.
world, you know?
No, seriously. So I mean, so to me personally, I think it should be a point deduction. I think that's it. And
Yeah, it's
I
not fair to
point
the players.
exactly point deduction and a fine,
Yeah.
which would be huge. I think, but I mean, there's obviously more things that leads to other repercussions that aren't explicitly handed off. The sad thing about so everyone's saying point deduction because of Juventus, right? Juventus just
Yeah.
they had their they got caught doing some financial misconduct
Trial.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and they're done. They're in 13th, I think, or 12th place right now because lost 15 points. The
That's
sad
tough.
but the sad but funny thing is if City loses 15 points,
They drop down to with West Ham, don't they?
they don't.
Oh.
They would be on the same amount of points as Chelsea and 1 point ahead of Liverpool. So
How the
they'd be
top
they'd be
six
ninth.
clubs have fallen. 3 of them are at the mid-table.
They'd be in ninth. But I'm hearing I was the Arsenal podcast, like their most famous one. I forget what it's called, Arsenal Fan TV or something like that.
Yeah.
One of them was saying that they should be expelled from the Premier League. I don't
Of
agree with that.
course they are.
I
Of
don't think they
course they
should
say
be.
that.
Of course, I mean, honestly, it'd be funny because it's essentially just Arsenal being handed the trophy, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
hey, if that's how you want to do it, that's how you want to do it. But
Yeah.
everyone's gonna make fun of you for the whole time for it. I don't think they should get expelled. I think people are saying that as well
No.
because same thing with Juventus. Juventus got expelled like a decade ago, maybe a little longer than that, for other financial misconduct. They got sent down to like 2 divisions, I think, 1 or 2 divisions.
Oh damn! I did not know that.
Yeah. It was a big thing, but I don't think they should do that. I think it should just be a fine
Yep,
and
agree.
point deduction.
I think for the people involved, I'm assuming if the investigation is found like thoroughly done and like they're found guilty, I think they'll probably figure out who is exactly involved in this scandal, and those
Yeah,
people who are involved should be told you have to step down from your job.
yeah.
Like if the
Oh,
entire board's involved, step down. Owners and chairman, it's the chairman for
I was
city.
gonna
Like
say
that
the
chairman steps
yeah the
down.
chairman's involved already. We know that. Yeah,
Yeah,
the chairman of
yeah,
Manchester City is involved in some way of essential money laundering, so,
yep.
funneling money into the club. He has to there has to be
Step down.
personal repercussions. I mentioned earlier, point deduction or expulsion could lead to other repercussions. I said that because I don't know if you saw this. A lot of people talking about it. So this is the first. This is not obviously we know this is not the first time they've been under breach of rules, but this investigation has been going on for 4 years, and about a little under a year ago, a lot of people were talking about it. And Pep was asked a question, um, speaking about it, saying, what are your thoughts on the whole investigation? Do you think they were caught, they were found breaching rules or whatever? And he goes on to say, when they are accused of something, I ask them, tell me about it. They explain that I believe them. I said to them, if you lie to me the day after, I am not here. I will be out and I will not be your friend anymore. I put my faith in you because I believe you 100% from day one, and I defend the club because of that. So if
Oh,
City are found guilty here, there is a good chance that Pep is gone. And not just Pep, KDB, Rodri, I'm
Holland
sure
chose the wrong club.
Holland could leave. There could be a huge repercussions for City here beyond what's written down on paper as a punishment.
Yeah, that dude, that would be crazy. Like just all the stars just leave at one
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
Wow,
that'd be huge.
dude, that would be huge.
I think
Kept
it
leaving.
would only be brought out. It would only be brought up. Like that situation would only happen if they get expelled.
Yeah,
If 15-point deduction, you're
you can
still
survive.
right now. You're 3 wins off of fifth. Like
Yeah,
City could still conceivably do something. They have the quality to just win. Um, but who knows? I mean, like these players could leave. I mean, that's a lot of tweets I was seeing. Is like United fans saying like, "Who would you take if everyone were to leave?" Um,
it was just release all the players. Imagine.
yeah, I mean, like I would take Holland if we were supposed to get Holland anyway. Like a year ago, I would bring KDB back to the club. Like I don't know. I think the next few months would be huge. I think end of this season at least,
I think that's when
latest.
everything will go down at the end of the season.
I think everything because I'm curious to see what kind of bans. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a point deduction, a fine, and a Europe ban or something like that.
Yeah,
Like
because oh,
the
think about
European
it. They could
competition.
reopen that case with
Yeah, because
the UEFA.
they almost were. You mentioned earlier, they almost
Yeah,
did around 2 years
2-1. They
ago.
almost. So yeah,
Um,
they might reopen that and then say
the,
you're banned too.
yeah, I forget what the committee's called, but 2 years ago, City appealed it and then won, and they were able to play European competition. In this
It was the
case, they
Court of
can't.
Arbitration for Sport,
There we
or
go.
known as CAS.
So they appealed it and they won, and they overturned the ban. With the amount of charges brought on, they can't appeal this time. Like legally, they can't appeal at
Shit,
all.
I don't. That makes sense because a
Yeah,
hundred individual
yeah,
appeals.
over 100 charge. Yeah, I know, literally. Yeah.
Assign one lawyer per appeal.
So it's I don't want to say scary, but I think so. This tweet, I don't know the credibility of this. This is according to TalkSport, but City could face points deduction or even relegation if they are found guilty of at least 50%. 50% of the
That would
charges.
be a great fit. That would be crazy.
Which I could
That
see
would.
it if I mean just to bring this many charges up, at least 50% of them, at least gotta be real. There's no way.
Yeah, I mean, 25% would be extremely like
Yeah,
anything below 30% is still so much. Like that
yeah,
shouldn't. But if it's anything above 30%, that's ridiculous. And I feel so bad for the players and everyone that works there, like that's not involved with this. Like, I mean, like the kit man, like all this
yeah,
assistants.
yeah,
I feel bad for them because they have no idea, and if they get relegated because it's not in their hands,
yeah.
they
That
lose
affects
their
them
job
too.
because the club can't. The club won't be able to pay them. They have to go
Hundreds of
somewhere
jobs,
else.
hundreds of
Yeah,
jobs just having to be. either
Also, imagine
dissolved
Etihad
or
in
I
the
don't know.
championship
Dude,
stadium in the
that'd be so
champion.
funny. I saw someone tweeted it was a United fan. They were like, the empty Etihad can't fill out the stadium week in week out, and you thought they were making more revenue than us, like for this stuff. I was like, yeah, I guess it's fair. Yeah,
Understandable. That's true.
understandable.
Just
I
no
don't
one would go to
know.
those games anymore. No
No,
City fans
literally.
would go.
I mean, you're totally right in the way that like you can't do anything but feel bad about the fans. As no matter how much we make fun of the fans, they have a great fan base, right? And they ultimately are the only victims of this, and as well
Yeah.
as the players. But they're like the prime victims of this, and they would just be screwed out of success. I saw.
I
So
think you
back
should
to
always
like,
go over to United. You know, you can always
I guess it's the
they
same
have
city.
another team. They can same city. They could just switch.
I saw someone say, "Oh, Mark Goldbridge." Like I love Mark Goldbridge. He was in response to Arsenal fans or any fans really saying that City should be stripped of the titles. I personally think it's wrong. I don't think they should be stripped of the titles because
Agreed.
Mark Goldbridge was saying if they did that, the whole Aguero moment you
Yeah,
lost
stripped
lost.
away. Doesn't matter.
Which you can't do that. You can't take away the meaning of that. Like it just loses all of its meaning. Great moment, great iconic quote loses all of its meaning. We should instead look forward to see how we can punish them from now on instead of taking away what they did. Because I
Yeah.
mean, as sad as it is, no matter how they did it, they still accomplished all that,
Yep.
regardless of how legitimate it was.
They still had to play the games. They still had to play the games.
They still, regardless of how they got the players still played under the impression they were doing it legitimately, hopefully, and
Yeah.
won.
Imagine.
Yeah, I know that'd be crazy.
Imagine they all knew.
But at the same time, I do feel sympathy for United and Liverpool particularly because I think United would have won two titles. Liverpool would have won like two or three. If if they were to find out the City were indeed cheating, I do feel bad for the fans because then they also got
Nah.
robbed.
It's not like they match fixed the game towards the end of the season. You know that made
No, but I
them.
mean it's I mean it is different. You're playing a different Man City if they can't spend what they spent.
Yeah, true. But they
It is
or it,
different.
then it begs. But then it begs the question, like, oh well, what could have they would with the amount of money that they could have spent instead of cheating? Would they still be able to build a similar team to an extent? Like I
Mm,
don't know. It's all this what ifs. Like maybe
yeah.
certain repercussions, certain things wouldn't have happened. So it's like a bunch of what ifs. There's only one way, and it's the multiverse. Somewhere out there, this didn't happen, and then we can figure that out. But I feel
Yeah.
like that's hard. I don't feel any sympathy for like the fans. Yeah, it's annoying, but at the same time, it's like, well, you can't really. It's a what if, but those fans, particularly like Liverpool and United fans, will say, "Oh, they stole it from us." It's like you don't. We don't really
Yeah.
know that to an extent. You could. There's so many
I
things
mean,
that come into play.
it's true. I mean, I won't. I mean, I'm gonna stand by the fact that I would feel sympathy because, like, well, I get what you mean. It's a what if. City could still won it in some way. I don't know. They could have spent like Brighton, who don't spend anything but get the crazy players, that kind of thing. But I do feel sympathy in a way that, like, it wasn't necessarily robbed from them. They just would have had a much better chance and probably would have won it if City weren't at the. But again, there's levels to it. There's like how much
Yeah.
worse would City have been? City could have been worse, but still just as good as the next team, right? So I do feel sympathy because if Chelsea was in second place and it was a close match, it was a close title fight. It was we lost by a point, 2 points, 2 points, 4 points, whatever, single digits. I'd be like, well, like what the fuck, like like that could have been us. Like if City dropped one game because of they have worse quality players, and then that leads us to a title. Things like that. Like I'm trying to put myself in that position. I would understand, but I don't think it's okay to call out for City to be stripped of the titles like that.
No, it
Put an
takes away too
asterisk.
much.
Put an asterisk next to it.
And little like
Goes
thing at
back
the
to the Astros.
bottom.
Yeah, found cheating or
Cheated.
something.
Found
Yeah,
cheating. Kind of
but
counts, kind of doesn't.
yeah, I know. It's like
Imagine they
I
got.
don't know.
Do they
It's
have banners there of the like championship like banners?
um.
That'd be fun if they have to
Not,
take them down.
I
That'd be
don't
so
think in the like
embarrassing.
not in the way that the NBA and MLB do and stuff. I think,
Oh, okay. Never mind then. My
but
bad.
I mean,
Lacking ball knowledge.
they do have like tifos, like fan banners that they bring talking about this stuff.
And just burn those ones, I guess.
So yeah, so Yeah, but like that's all Twitter is today is just people complaining about.
I mean,
Things.
point deduction fair. I think firing
Yeah,
of the board and everyone involved in it. Not all
yeah,
the board, if they weren't involved, fair enough. But firing of the board that were involved and anyone who knew about it, and fines sounds fair to me. And also maybe
sounds good to me.
transfer ban for a window. I don't know,
I could see
summer
that.
window.
I,
That would be
give it
fair.
a whole year. I think Chelsea got like 2 transfer windows when he got transfer banned like a couple years
Yeah.
ago. So give City 4. Fuck it.
Yes.
Give City 4.
With 100.
Dude, I know how many things
With
are we
100.
breaching. This is like fucking. This is like Ivan Toney. Kieran Trippier had like 4 charges of like betting, and he got banned. Ivan Toney has like 232. And
I don't even know how he has that many. Like, my God. He
literally,
saw the sports book and was like, yeah, I'll bet on all of them.
yeah,
Thank you
literally
very
every single
much.
game, whole season.
Every single game. He's like, you know what? I'll score
The
that game. Yeah,
parlay
why
goes
not?
crazy. The parlay was crazy week in, week out.
It'd
Uh,
be
yeah.
crazy. I don't know. Just
So
I guess teams and players are doing it different nowadays. What can we
yeah,
say?
I guess. Shit. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's really all we have to say. I mean, that's all. That's really all the information we have right now. Um, when more comes out, we inevitably update everyone. So if you do want to hear more about that when it does release, please consider subscribing. Turn notifications on, blah, 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 so you know when it comes out. If you enjoyed hearing about this from us, please like the video, comment your thoughts on the whole situation, because this is, like I said, this is arguably the biggest headline of the year so far in the
Yeah.
Premier League. So if all that, subscribe, like, notifications, pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah, we
Thanks
have
for
a lot, like
watching.
I said, a lot of other videos that we release, kind of thing. If you're interested in those, go ahead and check them out. Subscribe if you want more of those. There we go. All right.
All
We
right.
will see you guys next video or next update for this topic.
Peace.
See you guys.